All right, Lee, you know what we're going to watch this week?
Tell me what?
Cool World.
I love Cool World. No, we can't watch Cool World. I know all about Cool World.
I also know all about Cool World. When was the last time you saw it?
Then.
Okay, the last time I saw this, I was in middle school.
Okay.
So however, what are you, 13, 12, 11?
Was I then? I was younger than that. I might have been like 10 or something. I was like extremely young. I don't even know if that math works out, but I remember trippy ththings like, I remember this being like, oh, I wish Roger Rabbit was more like this. This is awesome.
Yeah, I remember
With, like,
seeing with some
combining
cartoon
things.
guy like peeing on somebody else.
Yeah.
I remember getting to the real world and
In the
cool shit
beginning.
happening.
Yeah.
But like, how things, what does Brad Pitt play? Like a detective or a cop? My memory on it is sporadic and loose.
I remember the girl dancing all weird and like a long scene of that. Who's the main guy? Gabriel Byrne, yeah. His like descent into madness where he's like, I draw these characters and they're coming to life or something, whatever his thing was. Yeah. I forget how it ends or what the overall like plot is. She wants to be real. She becomes real.
Yes.
Oh no, I know the whole movie. Okay, I forget how it ends though.
Yeah, I remember them going into the real world and things getting real and things like that. And I'm like,
getting real.
I don't remember the explanation as to why there are cartoon and real people in the cartoon world too. So I'm like, I'm very interested in reliving this, revisiting.
But it's like a twisted version of like the Toon World concept, the Roger Rabbit-ish sort of thing. I assume that
an R-rated
that
version,
came first.
I believe,
yes, but like definitely for adults.
Yeah, because what is
like
this, 90?
mature audiences.
92.
That was a golden time.
It sure was.
It's a golden time for cinema. Yeah, like a weird early Brad Pitt thing. So I would have seen him in other stuff.
Yeah, no, he was definitely a recognizable face at the time of me seeing this, and I remember walking away going like, well, that was awesome and different. And I'm very interested to see if it holds up and if I still think so today.
Yeah, I always liked that mixture of different mediums, and I liked animation anyway and all that stuff, more like adult or anime type weird stuff. So as a kid, anytime you saw anything different, and this is certainly different, it always like makes an impression.
I have a memory of it being like cheap American animation style.
No, I'm not
Maybe
saying
I'm
that. I'm not saying that it was anime. I'm saying there was, this is like well-worn territory, but like in the U.S. forever, still even it's like, well, cartoons are for kids or something like that.
Yeah.
So whenever you see something, even like the baby smoking cigars and like Roger Rabbit, there's always like a thing of like, what's this? Whoa, wait a minute. And like as a kid especially, where like I only know about 38 movies. I'm a kid, and like this one shows up, and you're like, oh my god, what is going on here? Right? It's like a very memorable thing. I probably saw this at the same time as I saw a lot of other stuff, and like this definitely was like, wow, where are we now? What's happening? So yeah, looking forward to watching it again, revisiting it, seeing if I was right or if I was wrong. I have to guess that it holds up and it's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I would anticipate I'm going to like it, but I've been wrong in the past.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'm entering this optimistically. Again, I believe.
Well, you want to like it. Do you?
I want to like this.
I also want to like it, but I also suspect that I. Do you think
I
that
think
you actually
I will. I think I
Okay.
will. Because this time period is like my shit.
Yeah.
And I like animation. I like the people. I can't imagine not like. There's no flags here. Where I'm like, unless this part goes awry. Well, I can't see anything.
What I always do with this, where sometimes I'm like, oh no, I've seen this, and I'm sure it holds up. They're like, tell me what you remember.
They're singing? I don't remember any singing.
Yeah. Like I tell you what I remember, and it's like, okay, that's 7 minutes probably of screen time. What do you think happens for the other 93 minutes? And I'm like, I don't know. And like, what if they're all bad and horrible, right? So that's possible.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let you know in 101 minutes.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, guys, here we're going to talk about 1992's Cool World. So like this, the non-spoiler bit here before we really jump into it is like this movie is visually such a interesting thing to watch.
Oh, okay.
The combination of just having like actual cartoons with actual people is like, you're like, oh, that's cool. I've seen that in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's a thing.
Right.
But this one also goes one step further, where it's like a school play, and there's just set pieces that are done in 2 dimensions that are in the room with the people, and that's so trippy and bizarre at times.
Did you like that?
I liked it because it's such a weird pitch. I can't imagine then how you sold that to make it happen.
Yes.
Like okay, in this scene, he's going to get into the car. Then when he gets out of the car, it'll be a 2D picture of a car printed on some cardboard or some shit, just propped up. And then when he gets around it, that car will be a cartoon and it will drive away. Like, things like that, I'm like...
That's okay.
It's so interesting to me. What? Or like the lamppost is in the foreground is drawn, and like the background is drawn.
Let's go. Come on. Come on.
And then, but then when
in the middle.
Yeah. There's such weird intermixed things in this movie that make it such like it's an oddity, that there's not a lot of things done like this ever, probably for a reason, but I really enjoy it because it's so unique.
I'm shocked.
I take it you are not a fan.
No, my note is this does not hold up, and then I almost didn't take any other notes.
Oh, well,
I was
the
like, oh,
movie
no.
itself does not hold up.
Okay.
I will say that. Like I recommend this solely as a thing to watch for how interesting and weird it is.
Okay, it's certainly
the
very
movie
weird.
itself, I watched this probably between 11 and 13 was the last time I saw it.
Yeah.
Thought it was great.
Yeah.
And that is totally who it is marketed towards.
Okay.
Because the
Yes,
jokes
yes,
are
yes.
like the jokes are immature. The
Yeah.
plot is very like not really existent. The rules are undefined, and they add in these little overdubbed cartoon bits that would only be funny to a child.
I agree.
And they're there, I think, they're like, this scene does not working. Add something. Add something.
Okay,
All right, how about like someone chasing someone with an axe?
Yeah, but facts is facts. She's a doodle and I'm not.
Okay, how about like every time we show a cartoon character, something falls and kills them?
Yeah, I think that we're on the same page. We have a different like result or whatever. I like what you're saying. I think that this is like, I heard about Mad Magazine and Bart Simpson. People were saying like there's a certain specific niche for like, this is edgy for like a kid, but it's made for like a kid. It's for like kids that are at the exact right age. It's like a 6-month period of your childhood where like, you're gonna think this, this is awesome and funny and amazing, but your parents are gonna be like, what are you watching? It's this weird little thing in there, and that's probably when I watched it too, honestly. So like, I feel like it's like the perfect, I was like 10 maybe when
Because I definitely remember watching this thinking, oh, this is super awesome.
Yeah.
And as like, I could, even thinking back when we were first like discussing this, I was like, well, I remember there being like some weird things or whatever, like some problems. I can't remember how certain things got to where they got to. Yeah. And it's because they don't ever, like, there's not an explanation. They just get to where they get to just because they have to get there.
Like, same deal for me. Again, keeping without spoilers, there were things where I was like, I can only remember 7 minutes of this movie. I think that we nailed all of like the things between the two of us of like the beats that happened or whatever. And then in between those, there's just, and like, maybe I should like it more, but I'm just like, between it, there's just like chaos. There's just like nothing.
It all
like,
came
I don't like
flooding
that.
back to me when the movie actually started. I was like, oh yes, I remember this.
Oh yeah,
like,
me too.
Like little
I had
bits.
some like advanced warning of things. So I can't not recommend it for all the reasons you're saying, like the oddity of it. This is after Who Framed Roger Rabbit, by the way.
Yeah.
And like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, like, has a bunch of interactions between the animated people and
There's
the real
better
people.
eye line stuff
I was
in
gonna
that.
say,
This one doesn't really pay close attention to that kind of thing.
There's a whole
like touching cartoons and cartoons touching people are always a little off.
Yes, and like I was gonna talk about the eye lines a little. There's a whole documentary about that, and that's where I heard about that, and it helped me appreciate the craft of Who Framed Roger Rabbit or whatever, like a little more. Here, a lot of these animated scenes just feel like, exactly what you said. Let's just put some animated stuff in this scene.
Yeah.
What? I don't know. Pick something out of the bin. Just throw something in there.
And a lot of times they're used over again.
Yeah, it's like looping
okay,
or whatever.
Show that. All right, now talk for 4 or 5 more seconds. Show it again. Got it.
And there are some trippy scenes, like there are some skulls turning inside out and weird stuff that I didn't hate. But a lot of the other stuff where it's like, that's just like a fox man chasing a fox kid with a stick of dynamite. Like, I don't know what I'm watching here. Like, yeah.
Our color is fading! Repent! Repent, O Toons! Listen to me! The end is near!
Hey, boss!
The animation style I really liked, and I looked at something, and it's a guy who I accidentally watched a documentary on when I was younger.
Hey.
I forget, it's something Crumb is his name, and I remember
renting this is Harry Crumb?
Harry Crumb.
What?
And I remember watching
no
that,
wonder.
thinking I was renting Who is Harry Crumb?
Who's Harry
the
Crumb?
comedy with
Nice.
John Candy.
Harry
and
Crumb?
I rented that. I didn't say Harry Crumb because I was like, what's his name?
It can't be Harry Crumb.
I think the documentary is just called Crumb.
Their way of expressing their connection to eternity, or whatever you want to call it. Modern music doesn't have that.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. And it went into this guy's life. He's like a real sexual pervert animator.
No, big time. He has a very, I would say, like a juvenile sense of humor. I think he rises above that, who you would usually say does that because of his prolificness and his admitting to being, he likes women with big legs or something, some weird
But I think he was
that.
a deviant that has gone to jail for molesting people too.
Oh, that's too much.
But I think it's because he has a mental problem with it. But he's a crazy good animator.
Right, exactly.
If I'm not mistaken, I may be putting crimes in this man's mouth.
I know his name is Crumb, but yeah, I know his name is Crumb. He's a pervert, and I don't like him. That's the whole thing.
But no, I like this style.
I don't hate him either. Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
I really do get into this animation style because it's just so iconic, and you don't see it anymore. But any more things before we go into a spoiler zone?
No, I think we got a good feel out there. I think you're stronger on it than me in terms of recommending it. I would still even recommend it just to check out. I am kind of disappointed compared to my memories of it.
Oh, definitely memory betrayed.
Oh,
definitely memory betrayed. Because in my mind, it was a great movie through and through. I thought. I think we even said, "There's no way this doesn't hold up." And I don't think it holds up because I'm not in the same mindset that I was then. I appreciate it for different reasons though. Then I would have said it's just a good movie, but now I say it's just the techniques are very fantastic. I'm worried, it's really interesting how this happened.
I'm worried about kids today though, because I don't know if a 10-year-old would have the same reaction that we had when we were 10. Because of animation
this
versus
would be,
physical stuff.
I think when it hit 10 to 13 or whatever, I think you would have to hit a kid now at 5 or 6.
Okay, just because the world has
the world's totally different.
Made us too hip. Exactly, and then it's going to be hard for parents to sign off on it because of all the.
There's actually nothing really bad in it.
Yeah.
When you really boil it down, it's the same thing parents who don't like The Simpsons. I'm like, oh, he says bite me, eat my shorts.
Well, she says needle dick and weird stuff like that.
So? Pencil dick, I think.
Parents are parents. I don't know.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
There's nothing really.
I'm not on that
train. Show your
trade.
children this.
No. I do think people should see this at a point where you will be into it, but I'm just skeptical about modern children.
Yeah.
But yeah, now let's dive into spoiling it, talking about what happens, ruining the ending.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
Right when it starts, there's it's 1946.
Can we talk about this
25?
intro? Yeah.
And that's what I was like, oh
no,
I remember this. I'm like, oh, his mom dies.
Medic!
Oh, I totally remember that.
Here was my thing. Am I watching the right movie? What the hell is this? Because we said and Brad Pitt is the only human in the Toon world, and you don't know why. Why is he in there? I wonder why. I'm like, oh, this is why.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Because he got he gets hit in the middle of the desert by random gangsters. In a wide open area where everyone can see everything. Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're meh. They're doing their fucking thing, and they hit him, and they both go flying, and he triggers PTSD flashbacks, and then is so upset that Professor Cartoon Man sucks him through a portal, but doesn't suck him through a portal. He just disappears right there, and that's his backstory.
Yes.
What the hell are we doing?
Let's just analyze that for a moment. So he gets pulled out of the real world through this magical spike, opens a rift, and pops him into our world.
Oh. Well, it works. My spike works.
When originally our what's his name, Dr. fucking something cartoon,
I call him
wanted
Dr.
to go
Cartoon
to
Face.
the other world,
Yeah.
But it didn't work that way.
My spike was supposed to send me to your world, but instead, you're here. This man's not dangerous to anyone.
He's running experiments.
This was the 1940s.
Yeah.
Now flash forward to, what is it, 1990?
Modernish times for them.
Whatever.
It's 90s, whatever.
90s, something or other. And you have, like, like in the prison, this man's drawing it. He's got all the credit for creating Cool World.
Tomorrow we're out of here.
When you're like, I don't think he was even alive when Cool World was started. So you're like, okay, he didn't dream it into existence.
No, he had visions of Cool
That's what I'm
World.
saying. He had visions. He believes himself to be the creator. He thinks he created these people. And now, sans magical spike, just through the power of will, we have Holli Would, our main character, cartoon harlot, pulls him through into that world a few times before he ultimately gets stuck.
He visits
in Toon World.
He visits Cool World a few times.
But like, I'm like, okay, so there's no rules. Hey, like, anybody can go anywhere.
Later, Brad Pitt travels back to real world
just by thinking it.
By thinking about his dead mother. And that's enough to get him back. Fine.
And what I did like a lot is that when he travels back to the modern time, he's injured again. Like he was just out of there. Did you notice that?
Is that what that was?
He had the exact same injuries as when he got out of the motorcycle accident.
Oh, okay.
And I thought that was super cool.
I thought he like fell or they like did something when he arrived.
They don't explicitly say this is what happened, but that's
like
how
that.
I took it, and I liked that. I liked it a lot.
If true, amazing. I like it a lot.
Amazing.
Amazing.
What in your suit?
What's going on between this guy and me is it's kind of complex.
But I thought that was cool. I totally dislike all the means and how things go and come from the thing. I hate rules that are just convenient for the moment. Like spoilers we're already into. Like Brad Pitt when he dies. But how did he die? Did a toon kill him or a person? A toon. Well, everyone knows when toons kill people in the real world, they become cartoons here.
Was she a doodle when she aced him?
Yeah, so what?
So what?
You're like, what? How would that ever be established? Hasn't only one toon ever even been to the real world?
We know what happens to Noids when they traffic in the Cool World, and I just ... It's the most cumbersome, weird. They don't even animate her face saying it because it must have been like a work later just to shove it in there and be like, we have to explain why it's a cartoon.
Noids who traffic in the Cool World nails, when they get killed by a doodle, they become a doodle themselves.
Why does this henchman even go there? Like, I hate this movie, I think.
What do you mean, why does this henchman go there?
So, like, we're, like, skipping ahead. Holli Would sucks him into the pen.
Yes.
And he ends up there. She drops the pen, he comes out and does nothing.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It makes no sense at all.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Well, he has to be able to tell her later that he died by getting pushed off of a building when he wasn't even there to see him get pushed off the building or know that Holli Would pushed him.
Oh, I hate being battled up like that. Oh, man, boys, hold on!
And he doesn't turn into, that's even worse than I thought. He doesn't even turn into a toon because of something that they had to know. And the professor was there and also went back with Brad Pitt. So what is happening?
I don't know.
I wonder,
and when the professor dies, he like, in quotes, he just like pops his body parts everywhere, like.
Harris, help me! You gotta stop that girl.
Which they show you with the cops earlier, and I like that.
No,
so
it's cool.
Good times.
But the fact that it works the same way in the real world as it would in the cartoon world, I thought was interesting.
Yes,
like,
because
there's no differences.
Because people in Cool World do not age and have superhuman powers.
Yeah.
Why do toons in real world still have all the rules of toons?
Yeah.
Toons, doodles.
Doodles.
Nailed it.
You wouldn't think they would, and that's what's interesting.
I know.
I don't have a huge problem with anything because, again, like I've already gone on record saying like, it doesn't hold up.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
it's mainly just a visual feast at times.
Yeah.
I thought there was some interesting things. There's some issues with if they were even rotoscoping at times. The largeness of characters was changing. Like Holli Would at one point, like Brad Pitt's like talking to her while she's sitting, and she's like an Amazonian compared to him.
There'll be no crossovers while I'm around.
Like an 8-foot tall woman.
Yeah, she's way bigger than he is. And then later when you have her in the real world having problems, I'm like, you're like, why does she turn into a different tune? Like, and it's simply because, yeah, she was there, and they have to draw something making it bigger than she is to cover her body.
That's great.
And that makes sense.
He's an animator, guys. He knows what he's talking about. Yeah, so they both pop into a different tune that is ugly and horrible and makes no sense, and I hate it. It's an interesting effect that they're like degrading back into something or whatever.
Sure.
I like that. If we go back, I liked the James Woods looking gangster dude that has the wooden nickels that have like that can bite you and stuff.
I don't give a doodle. Just bust her ass.
This is where like my 12-year-old
James Woods
brain,
from Hercules.
Yeah, well, that's you know what I meant.
Yeah.
And you are wearing his merchandise.
These are like the things that I picked out, additionally, or we can just revisit. There's that car chase scene. So we have like the gorilla baby who walks on his hands, has like the long nails and stuff.
Claws, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's like, his name is Claw, yeah.
Oops, Snake Eyes, you lose.
And he's like pissing on the cops that makes them run
that
the car
was
off
one
the
of
road.
I forget if I said that.
Yeah,
that was my memory I have of like, I'm like,
Yeah.
yep, pissing on cops.
I can remember that too. I might have said out loud, like, yeah, there's like a chase or something, right? I like vividly remembered that part and all that stuff. The whole hench squad, there's a scene where they're trying to watch them boning and like
piling all the shit.
Piling all this stuff. It sucks that they kind of like reuse it a few times, but the concept of like Toons doing that to like solve a problem, Doodles doing that, was really cool. I'm like, that's really cool. Like there's cool things that happen.
Very
in the
cool
movie.
things.
Definitely.
There's
a cool world.
There's a couple of shots that are only like a second long, making fun of other studios.
Oh,
there's
what do you got?
There's like a Mickey is in one shot, but like it's like a person wearing like the Mickey ears hat thing.
Oh,
like
man.
I forget if it's like a skeleton or whatever it was. And then another shot, there's like straight up just Daffy Duck.
Cartoons?
Whoa.
Like just like his face for like 4 frames or something.
Really?
And there was a third one that I forget and didn't write down. But I was like, oh yeah, they're just like openly poking fun at things here.
That's dope.
It was interesting.
It does have that vibe. Like this is like the 90s of like Sonic the Hedgehog, like the attitude. Like this isn't your usual like Roger Rabbit, he's lame. This is the cool, right? So it has a bit of that going for it. So that's perfect that they're like trying to portray other stuff like what do you think this is? The 100-acre wood?
But there's something about
I got 100 acres of wood for you.
Like the colors, the look, like it really and I'm sure a lot of that is nostalgia, just like stabbing through. But like
Possibly
I think had I never
nostalgia.
seen this, I would have been watching it, I think, even more intently. Like just eyes agape, like what the fuck is this?
I mean, it's certainly strange. I can't tell if you mean what is this because it's so amazing or what is this because I can't believe this exists.
Both, honestly.
Okay. I'm more in the latter, only in the latter.
It's hard to believe that this is a thing. Because these are famous ass people.
Exactly.
And like
Brad
they're in this
Pitt.
movie. And I'm sure a lot of this had to do with like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, huge success.
Right.
And they're like, we're making something in the vein of that, but darker.
But it's gonna be dark and edgy.
For adults.
It's not just
but
for
I'm
kids.
like, is this for adults?
It can't be for
it's
adults.
It's PG-13, so like it's not really for kids.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't seem to. I saw it as a kid because that's what was happening during that time period.
I rented this from Pathmark Video.
I feel like nowadays, like you said, a kid who's 10 would be like, "What is this? I've been watching ISIS beheading videos on my iPad. Like I don't give a crap about right." So you would have to catch them at like 3 or 4 just to be like, "Want to see something cool?" And they're like, "Cool. What are you, a boomer?" We say lit now or whatever.
But
right?
I do love.
Yeah.
I love anytime animation and people cross over, like actual animation, not 3D animation, like the good stuff. Like even when it's done bad, like Evil Toons or something like that, like those are like It's fun.
Remember the drawing of the beast? It's gone.
And he's on a quest for flesh.
To have that crossover, even if it's done kind of shitty. And like, because it's such a hard process. Like, to do it great is really hard. So, like, you got to slap through it a certain degree of shit.
That was where it, like, falls down for me, is that I feel like a lot of it was just, like, them, like you say, like, in post, like, okay, put some, like, fish jumping in the foreground, and, I don't know, in the background, a stork flying, but he's got, like, an anvil, I don't know, just something.
What's the deal?
And those are better than whatever they use. Like,
I was trying to like mentally go like, all right, so what would force a lot of this weirdness? And I think it's because like they're like, okay, hand in hand while we're filming this movie, the animators have to be doing something, and like those are things you can just blanketly drop in somewhere. Like, okay, make these things. Good. We can scale it to where it has to go, and we'll fit it inside the shot. Yeah. Keep going. We need more. This takes so damn long. Just keep going.
Keep drawing. Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around here, this can be a big nuisance. You thirsty, Nails?
No, a lot of those things had a payoff though if you're paying attention to them. So like in one scene it'll like, let's say it's like a candy bar chasing a, this isn't what we're really saying, like a candy bar chasing a drink, the next one the drink is chasing the candy bar. I was gonna say, and it might even be like 20 minutes later.
You're gonna name things that are better than whatever's in the movie though. You're gonna be like, oh, awesome little like I don't know. Something about it. I don't hate this style of animation, but I don't like love it either. It's not like so for me
this is very American to me, and that's what I like about it. Like it's almost like a sense of pride. I'm like, yeah, America, we got this. Like Americans historically are like the worst animators. Like we're not good. We have the lowest frame rate. We're not amazing at things. But there's from being the first things that like I think I was exposed to as a kid, and not understanding what outside of our area's animation was and why it looked differently. I always led like this is my shit. I love this kind of stuff.
No, I'm not going to mention the anime thing as I always do, but I just did. But even when I think about the Looney Tunes things that I liked, it was a lot of the stuff that was like different or interesting. Like Tom and Jerry was kind of like whatever. But like Roadrunner and like like the Martian guy, all the conveyor belts and the weird peacock bird things. Yeah, like that stuff was always more of like a thing to me, and that's playing on those like weird locations and layers and things and sets or whatever. A lot of like when I think American animation, I think of Tom and Jerry and like flat, like like you're looking into like a shoebox diorama of like nothing, no like things happening.
I like Tex Avery stuff.
Oh whoopee, ain't we got fun?
And
don't know what that
like
is.
Hanna-Barbera.
Stop this crazy thing!
Like that kind of shit, and this reminds me more of like that. The same dude that did this also I think worked on I could be wrong, I think it was like the heavy metal movies.
Sure.
I think he did the Lord of the Rings cartoons.
I love that Lord of the Rings cartoon.
Wizard, I think, was that.
I'm glad you changed your last name, you son of a bitch.
Like it has all that same look. This is some weird shit. I love that.
No, that stuff. I feel like all those things you just mentioned have like more detail and like dynamicness.
Well, because I think those being just cartoons. Like does that, and this not being a cartoon. Like there's only I think one shot in this, and I really like those when there's like one matte painting. It just like pans across. There's no movement at all. I love that shit because you get this weird gritty detail that you're just like, let me show you and full appreciate this.
So we get to a part at the end that is mostly animation. This is like the crescendo.
Yes.
We get Mr. Longhands himself.
Yeah.
Like climb right because she's going to the roof of a casino to get the spike, which will do something bad, I guess. We're not sure what's happening.
It's gonna merge the universes.
I know, but I'm saying like I don't know why is that bad. There's already people from both universe and other universe. I don't know what's happening. So he longhands his way up there and turns into like the stereotypical superhero.
Yes.
It's up to me to return the spike and plug the hole. You fiends!
And she turns back into like Holli Would or
Pretty
whatever,
much.
right? As she ushers in a like hell demon thing, which is really just Brad Pitt's henchman Spider-Man face made purple.
Hey, goody.
Pencil dicks.
And like duped a bunch or whatever, but it's fine. And like shoving all this goo everywhere and doing all this stuff. And this is where I feel like a lot of the animation stuff that is more intricate and like has depth, like I'm talking about, is all like centered around.
Yeah.
Right? There's fight scenes. He's dangling. He's doing this. He's riding stuff. He's trying to catch her. She's running away. She's freaking out. It's the whole thing.
I didn't remember Brad Pitt dying.
Oh my God.
Okay.
But you know, I liked it. Didn't like how Brad Pitt's cartoon looked. I was like,
That's awful.
You're taking like, you know, a very famous dude here, and you're putting like no effort into his cartoon.
It's like a pop cap of Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Just had lifeless black eyes.
Oh, and he's gorgeous too.
Hubba bubba, baby. What do you think?
And like it worked, I guess. But the
No,
girls
it's-
are way more detailed.
It's
than
what it
him.
should be, but yes, it's like she's dating a different species or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
just
weird.
like when you see like Holli Would and then you see her turn into a lady, you're like, okay, that's kind of the cartoon version of her.
even
Kind
that.
of.
Yeah.
I'm like, but his is not really the cartoon version of him. It's like a
No.
cartoon that is him.
Hot dog. Dig it.
Right.
So I thought that was a little bit of an.
I remember this happy ending because as like a 10-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, he boned the like, crazy chick and then had to clean up this big mess, and now they're kind of both being punished for it. And he tried to do the right stuff, and now he's a cartoon, and he can bone his cartoon chick. Everybody's happy. Like,
Forever.
it's this, forever. They can go bone at the club. Yeah, so like, there's a weird sort of, again, like immature, but like it makes sense, right? It's like a thing.
No,
Yeah.
everyone got theirs.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't know, right? Like, I think I remember, like, that ending and the whole sequence there, how Gabriel Byrne turns into, like, superhero man and all that stuff. Like, all those things, I would have been super into that. And then, like, the like, peppering earlier on of, like the monkey, like, not the like, gorilla baby, basically.
Splash. Is that you? Put it there, pal.
Like, weird stuff like that. The wooden
The
nickel
bouncer
part,
is,
things.
like, part ball.
Yeah.
And he is bouncing.
Get it?
It's like,
Bounce?
It's like, well, he's with me.
He's with me.
Sorry, baby. No Noids.
He's with me too.
Well, he's also with me. And then her, like, big
He's
gorilla
also
henchman's,
with me.
like whips him.
I love that part too. I love the hench people and the interactions and how it's the whole thing. And then she's like, I'm real now. I'm going to the real world. And they're like, oh, what are you doing? All that stuff. Like all that stuff's cool.
I'm allergic to clouds.
I'm sorry, boss. I'm allergic to clouds.
This is no time to catch a cold.
It is not a cold, boss. I am allergic to clouds. What?
Oh God, yeah. So like, is that the matte painting of like the moon and like the night you're talking about, or is that something else?
No, the one I was talking about was when they first go into the club. There's like a bunch of people just like in different poses sitting in a long thing. It just pans across these like greasy rat racer type people.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like.
And then the next shot is like a million wolf people, just like all moving like 6 frames back and forth.
When they have to like set up the club and they do the big spread or whatever. Him crawling up the building was like cringe and also
that was
good.
like Batman.
Right? Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Like old school Batman.
But it's 92 now.
Yeah.
He's just doing this. And they're like filming it.
And like things would flip back and forth to where like, oh, cartoon rope is on him, then it's real rope, then it's like shit like that, where it's like, it's interesting. I know it's to solve a problem you're having at that moment. Like to a much lesser scale, these are things I ran into while doing like the Jurassic World one-man remake stuff. I'm like, okay, God, how can I make this happen? Blah, blah, blah. And I could just see them
what if I
with
draw
money
the
and
hat?
time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just making that shit work.
No, but it does have a certain amount of charm. I don't have the level of nostalgia in my tank, even, let alone for this film, to be like, oh yeah, what is it? But it was cool to revisit it, certainly. I'm
the
not
nostalgia
like,
is like the kickstart, but it's like to get the thoughts on this running, but mainly it's just like these weird effects and like oh right, you thought that worked and this flew and that and like things are just very interesting.
Okay.
Like just that whole having the set be this series of two-dimensional things.
Up against the wall. Get your hands off me.
Where are your manners here?
You be quiet.
It's just so weird to me.
It is.
And I can't imagine like pitching that and then on set show up your like famous ass actors. You're like, all right, they're like, what?
I would love to hear interviews with particularly Brad Pitt about working on this movie.
No, I don't get it.
Of course you don't get it, because you're a wackadoo. But here you are, Jack.
I would love to hear some more material.
So this is 92. What is Brad Pitt known for in 92? Like
Thelma and Louise.
Like, but that's not a starring role.
No,
so
after that, I guess I don't know.
I think maybe they did just catch him at the right time. Like,
I'm not
maybe
sure
these names are so big in my head because of what they went on to do.
I don't even know how famous they were here. I'm sure they wanted to work on the project and it was whatever. I would just love to hear them in retrospect.
Sure.
Like when you hear Tom Cruise talk about Legend, like just tell me about like what was that like? Bob Hoskins about Super Mario Brothers, right? You're like, just fill this in. Dolph, what was it like on Masters of the Universe? He's like, they ran out of money. I had to come back for free. And you're like, what? Like, what are you talking about? These awesome stories. Like, I'm sure there's something here where it was, because at this time in particular, I don't think actors were used to like, there's a wolf there. Just act like you're talking to a wolf.
Certainly not. Yeah.
Right? Like now, I think that's like standard where you walk in, it's half.
There's a guy with green holding a sign for eye lines. And
it's like half green, and there's a thing with like balls on it where you gotta look at the balls and then act or whatever, and then Ian McKellen starts crying. I've done Shakespeare. Why are you doing this to me? Yeah, it's great. No, certainly like a thing. Like there's not like a million of these types of movies to like throw around and be like, oh, you should watch the better one, because Roger Rabbit is like the yin to this yang here, right? Yeah. It's not like the same thing. So see them both, make it like a double feature. Watch Roger Rabbit and this for your like.
I'd watch this first, or else you're gonna be disappointed. Yeah.
I would do the other way almost. Just
you think?
Be like, I think so.
I think you would. I think seeing what is possible, you'd be like, oh, I'm much less forgiving of this movie. But I think if you watch this,
I guess.
Either way, you're going to make a large comparison, but it might. I think it'd be better theatrically. Like your experience would be better watching something that you're like, oh, this is impressive. Look at this. Oh, this is so much more impressive.
I picture it like you're at the party, everyone's wide awake, you're using like your daytime, whatever, and then like it starts to get later. Some of the people leave the party, and now it gets weird, and like now it's time for Cool World. I'm picturing it like that flow to your movie double feature.
But I picture that like the analogy would be like playing the second version of a game and then the first version. You'd be like, oh, they don't have the same upgrades, the graphics are worse, the pacing's not as good.
Well, but this movie came out after, and it is trying to take the piss out of Roger Rabbit.
But the budget is definitely like a quarter.
Yeah,
if that.
We didn't have all the big properties and all that stuff either. Whatever order you watch it in, I think there's some potential there to explore.
There's something.
Is there another movie that's famous that mixes the two like that?
I'm sure there is.
I feel like this is like a super rare thing actually.
At the moment. The only one like I mentioned earlier, like
Tex Avery?
Evil Tunes.
Oh.
I
don't know what that is.
Something that does this, but they only use one cartoon, and it's only for like a few minutes of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the place is really coming to life.
That's a like B-rated horror movie.
I had a nightmare when I was a kid, like a recurring nightmare about a monster that kind of looked like Swamp Thing and Madame Trash Heap from Fraggle Rock, like a big mess of a dude. And I was, he was like after me, and I was trying to hit him with like a golf club. Whenever I would try to hit him, he would turn into a cartoon, and hitting him wouldn't work. And then when I was done trying to hit him, he would turn back and start chasing me again. And I believe this movie caused that nightmare. If I think back on like the timeline or whatever, it's entirely possible.
I'll believe it.
There we go.
All right, that's the biggest recommendation I've ever heard. Watch this and have some horrible nightmares. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Bean it, copper.
Read it
Just doing my job.